great leaders don't just govern, they transform. The 20th century was filled with wars, revolutions, and breakthroughs that reshaped nations. And at the heart of this change were political leaders who dared to reimagine their countries. Some rebuilt shattered economies, others fought for freedom and equality, while a few created new states from scratch. In this video, we're counting down the top 10 transformational leaders of the 20th century, visionaries who turned challenges into opportunities, left behind lasting institutions, and changed the destiny of millions. From Africa to Asia, the Middle East to the West, these are the leaders who proved that true greatness comes not just from holding power, but from using it to transform a nation. Let's begin. Number 10. Getulio Vargas, Brazil. Getulio Vargas, often called the father of the poor, was one of Brazil's most influential and controversial leaders of the 20th century. Rising to power in 1930, he governed for nearly 2 decades, first as provisional leader and later as president, steering Brazil through industrialization and modernization. Vargas' centralized authority introduced labor laws, minimum wages, and social security, earning strong support from the working class. Under his leadership, Brazil shifted from an agrarian economy to a more industrial one, laying the groundwork for its later development. However, his rule was not without controversy. Vargas also imposed authoritarian measures, curbed dissent, and concentrated power during the Estado Novo period. Despite this, his reforms transformed Brazil's economy and society, and his legacy endures in Brazilian politics. Vargas remains a complex figure, part populist, part dictator, but undeniably a transformational force in his country's history. Number 9. Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana. Kwame Nkrumah was the visionary who led Ghana to independence in 1957, making it the first sub-Saharan African nation to break free from colonial rule. A master orator and passionate advocate for self-determination, Nkrumah inspired not only his own people, but also independence movements across Africa. As prime minister and later president, he invested heavily in education, infrastructure, and industrial projects, hoping to modernize Ghana and reduce dependence on foreign powers. His greatest dream, however, went beyond Ghana. He was the driving force behind Pan-Africanism, advocating for a united Africa to resist neo-colonialism and achieve prosperity. While his later years in power were marked by economic struggles and accusations of authoritarianism, Nkrumah's role as a trailblazer for African freedom is undeniable. Today, he is remembered as a symbol of independence, hope, and the enduring fight for dignity and self-governance across the continent. Number 8. Charles de Gaulle, France. Charles de Gaulle was the towering figure who embodied French resilience during the 20th century. In 1940, when France fell to Nazi Germany, de Gaulle refused to surrender and instead rallied the Free French forces from London, becoming a symbol of resistance. After the war, he briefly stepped away from politics, only to return during the 1958 crisis that threatened to unravel France amid the Algerian War. De Gaulle founded the Fifth Republic, creating a strong presidency that endures today, stabilizing France's often fragile political system. His vision of French independence shaped foreign policy too, from developing nuclear weapons to pulling France from NATO's integrated command, asserting France's sovereignty. Though at times controversial, de Gaulle restored national pride, safeguarded democracy, and left behind a constitutional system that gave France both stability and global influence. Number 7. Konrad Adenauer, West Germany. Konrad Adenauer, West Germany's first chancellor after World War II, is often called the father of modern Germany. When he took office in 1949, Germany lay in ruins, physically devastated, morally discredited, and politically divided. Adenauer's leadership was instrumental in rebuilding the nation. He prioritized democracy, stability, and integration with the West, securing Germany's place in NATO and laying the foundations for the European Union. Domestically, he oversaw the Wirtschaftswunder, or economic miracle, with his government fostering policies that spurred growth, industry, and rising living standards. Adenauer also worked to reconcile Germany with its neighbors, especially France, setting the stage for lasting peace in Europe. His pragmatic, steady leadership helped transform a defeated, occupied country into a respected, prosperous democracy. Adenauer left behind not just a rebuilt nation, but a vision of Germany as a cornerstone of European unity. Number 6. Ataturk, Mustafa Kemal, Turkey. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, the founding father of modern Turkey, transformed a collapsing Ottoman Empire into a secular, modern republic. After leading Turkish forces to victory in the War of Independence, he declared the Republic of Turkey in 1923 and became its first president. Ataturk believed survival in the modern world required sweeping change. He abolished the caliphate, introduced secular legal codes, and replaced the Arabic script with the Latin alphabet to improve literacy. He promoted women's rights, granting them the vote long before many Western nations, and emphasized science and education as tools of progress. Though his reforms were at times authoritarian, they broke with centuries of tradition and redefined Turkey's identity. Ataturk left behind a model of modernization that still shapes the nation nearly a century later, a leader who turned crisis into an opportunity for rebirth. Number 5. Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, United Arab Emirates. Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, revered as the father of the nation, transformed a sparsely populated desert into the modern United Arab Emirates. As ruler of Abu Dhabi and architect of unification, he played a central role in bringing together 7 emirates in 1971, forging a stable federation where others had failed. Zayed used oil wealth wisely, investing in infrastructure, education, and healthcare, while ensuring resources were shared fairly among all emirates. He emphasized tolerance, environmental stewardship, and modernization without erasing cultural traditions. Under his leadership, the UAE went from poverty and illiteracy to one of the most prosperous states in the Middle East. Known for his humility and vision, Zayed championed dialogue over conflict and left a legacy of unity, progress, and foresight. His leadership remains the cornerstone of the UAE's success story. Number 4. Deng Xiaoping, China. Deng Xiaoping is often called the architect of modern China. Taking power in the late 1970s after the turmoil of the Cultural Revolution, Deng recognized that China could not advance through ideology alone. It needed reform. His guiding principle, "It doesn't matter whether a cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice," reflected his pragmatic approach. Deng introduced market-oriented reforms while maintaining political control, opening China to foreign investment, creating special economic zones, and encouraging private enterprise. Under his leadership, hundreds of millions were lifted out of poverty, and China set itself on the path to becoming a global economic powerhouse. Though he faced criticism for maintaining strict one-party rule and the Tiananmen Square crackdown of 1989, Deng's reforms redefined China's place in the world. He transformed a poor, agrarian society into an emerging giant of the 21st century. Number 3. Nelson Mandela, South Africa. Nelson Mandela is remembered as the man who ended apartheid and became South Africa's first black president. After spending 27 years in prison for opposing racial segregation, Mandela emerged not with bitterness, but with a vision for reconciliation. In 1994, he led South Africa into a new democratic era, dismantling one of the world's most brutal systems of institutionalized racism. As president, he worked to unify a divided nation, establishing the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to confront past injustices while avoiding civil war. Mandela also prioritized education, social justice, and equality, earning global admiration as a symbol of dignity and forgiveness. Though his presidency faced economic challenges, his leadership changed the trajectory of South Africa forever. Mandela's ability to transform suffering into hope made him one of the most inspirational leaders of the 20th century, a true statesman of peace. Before we reveal our final choices, it's worth remembering that the 20th century was full of remarkable leaders who left lasting marks on their nations. Not all of them made our top 10, but their vision, courage, and reforms transformed societies in profound ways. Here are our honorable mentions. Jawaharlal Nehru, India. As India's first prime minister, Nehru laid the foundations of the world's largest democracy. He championed secularism, industrialization, and non-alignment, guiding a diverse and newly independent nation into stability while securing its global identity. David Ben-Gurion, Israel. Israel's founding father and first prime minister, Ben-Gurion proclaimed independence in 1948 and steered the fledgling nation through war and survival. His leadership ensured Israel's endurance during its fragile early years. Julius Nyerere, Tanzania. Nyerere, affectionately known as Mwalimu, the teacher, united Tanzania by promoting Swahili and education. Though his socialist policies had mixed economic results, he built a strong sense of national identity and integrity. Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam. A revolutionary hero, Ho Chi Minh led Vietnam's fight against colonial powers and later unified the country. His leadership symbolized resilience, independence, and the struggle of oppressed nations seeking self-determination. Margaret Thatcher, United Kingdom. The Iron Lady was Britain's first female prime minister. She transformed the economy through free market reforms, broke the power of trade unions, and became a global icon of conservative leadership. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Dubai, UAE. As Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed turned a desert emirate into a global hub for trade, tourism, and innovation. His vision reshaped the Middle East future. Ronald Reagan, USA. Reagan's presidency revitalized American conservatism, cut taxes, and expanded military strength. He played a defining role in the final stages of the Cold War, pushing policies that pressured the Soviet Union. Anwar Sadat, Egypt. Egypt's third president, Sadat ended decades of hostility by signing the historic peace treaty with Israel in 1979. His bold move reshaped Middle Eastern diplomacy, though it cost him his life. Lula da Silva, Brazil. Born into poverty, Lula rose to lead Brazil as president from 2003 to 2010. His social programs lifted millions from poverty and gave Brazil a stronger role on the global stage. Patrice Lumumba, Congo. Lumumba was the first prime minister of an independent Congo. Though his leadership was cut short, he became a martyr for African independence and a symbol of resistance to colonial oppression. Number 2, Franklin D. Roosevelt, or FDR, was the only U.S. president elected to 4 terms, and his leadership reshaped America during its greatest crises. Taking office in 1933, amid the Great Depression, Roosevelt launched the New Deal, a series of programs and reforms that created jobs, stabilized the economy, and expanded the role of government in American life. Then came World War II. FDR became the central figure in the Allied war effort, forging partnerships with Churchill and Stalin to defeat fascism. His vision extended beyond war. He helped establish the United Nations, laying the groundwork for post-war peace and global cooperation. Though he never lived to see victory in 1945, Roosevelt's legacy is monumental. A leader who steered America through economic collapse and World War, leaving behind a stronger, more active democracy and a lasting international order. Number 1. Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore.
Prepared to ground the airline. They know that I can get the airline going again without them. And let there be no mistakes about this. Whoever governs Singapore must have that iron in him, or give it up. This is not a game of cards. This is your life and mine. I've spent a whole lifetime building this. And as long as I'm in charge, nobody's going to knock it down.
Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore's founding prime minister, turned a tiny, resource-poor island into one of the world's most prosperous nations. When Singapore gained independence in 1965, few believed it could survive. Yet under Lee's pragmatic, disciplined leadership, Singapore became a model of stability, efficiency, and economic growth. He cracked down on corruption, promoted meritocracy, and attracted foreign investment through smart planning and infrastructure. Lee emphasized education, housing, and public health, lifting millions into the middle class. His policies created one of the world's most competitive economies, a global hub for trade, finance, and innovation. Though criticized for authoritarian methods, Lee's results are undeniable. He transformed a struggling colony into a nation admired worldwide for its governance and quality of life. Lee Kuan Yew's vision turned vulnerability into strength, making Singapore one of the greatest success stories of the 20th century. These leaders didn't just hold office, they reshaped nations. From Roosevelt rebuilding America to Mandela healing South Africa, and Lee Kuan Yew turning a small island into a powerhouse, their stories prove that true leadership is about transformation. Which of these leaders do you think had the most lasting impact? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another countdown of history's greatest figures. This is Real Life Top 10s. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.